All right, welcome to your orientation for a fully online class or a blended class. This orientation is similar to any class that you're taking me. I'm going to be using the example for Introduction to Business, and so I'll go through the format. But if you're taking me for marketing, you're taking me for finance, you're taking me for anything that has a fully online component on it, this would be the orientation that you need. So I'm just going to go really quickly. You could play around with it. There's other YouTubes. There's a lot of help through Blackboard that Harper, this is the course management system that Harper utilizes. To log in, you'll log in the same way as you would to your email. You go to your Stern portal, you find Blackboard, and you go in there. Okay, so let me just go in here. We're going to pick up this class here. And the class I'm going to pick up is the Intro to Business class. So you will be one of my first. I'm updating because I keep on updating. So you're going to come in here. You can see my face, except for all this garbage on here. I'm going to turn this on into the student mode. So this is how you're going to see it instead of seeing everything I have. You're going to see in the student mode. And one thing to remember, sometimes I have it to set on automatically. If for some reason some of the functions aren't working and I'm stating that it should be working, send me an email and I'll respond and I'll make the adjustments to that. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go into, where the heck, I'm going to enter the student mode. So you already entered this, you found your class, whether the management, whatever it is in this case. If you have anything that has a W on it, that basically would be a fully online class. Or you have a P designation, that's an apprenticeship program, or you have an F, that's an adult fast track. So some of them are blended. It means it's some online and some offline. But the online portion, you all have it. So, okay, so here you are. You're going to come in here, and remember with this course, or most of the courses, you're going to have to utilize a software that's provided by the publisher. In this case that I'm using here into the business is Pearson. So with Pearson, they would have a software. So when you buy the book, you could buy the book a hard copy, or you could buy the book electronic version. And I have the different options, or you could go to the bookstore and you'll have the correct book that you need. When you purchase the book, you'll have an access code to it. So if I'm looking at the access code, so you get the book, an ebook. A lot of students would use the ebook. It's the best cost available on there. And you look around. So you'll get the access code. And then when you do your first homework assigned, it's going to ask you for that access code. So basically you'll put the access code, and what you've done, you've paired the Pearson software with this course right here. Okay? All right, so we have that. So that's what the parents are going to do the homework. So you need the software. You have any time. So all this here is the links. How do you do the homework? MyLab browser, MyLab coursework, all the assignments. So if I can come in here and I'm in the student mode, continue. I have it open up another window. It works out easier. Let's see if this works. These are all the assignments that are due. You see what I'm talking about? And here you have the due date. So here's the due date. So you could work on them in advance, but you have to do them by the due date. And the only way you're going to access this, the minute you do the first assignment, get started in MyLab, it's going to ask you, let's see what happens here. I'm in the student mode. It's going to ask you, you can get started. Okay, so it's allowing me to do this. Sometimes it doesn't allow me to do it because I'm in the student mode, not as an instructor. But at this time, it's going to ask you for the access code. You put in the access code and you should be all right on that, all right? So we have this on here. Let me go back in here. Let me go back to get out of here. Okay, so that's where you find your homework assignment. So you're going to come in here. That's the first thing you'll open up. Or you could come in here. In this section here, it says MyLab Intro to Business Homework Assignment. And it basically gives you the same thing. The way it is defaulted, so you know you have to go in here. Now, when you're looking at the MyLab also has help in there. So when you go into Pearson, so it takes you out of Blackboard, and once you pair it and you're in their system, and then you do a homework, and when you do the homework, I will ask to pull that information into Blackboard, into the grade book. So you always see the consistent grade. Sometimes it doesn't transfer over, then that's where you have to do your analysis or your to make it work out well. So you're going to look at the Pearson here's the grade you got. received, and here's the grade that should have transferred. If not, then you'll send me click a picture of here's the grade book and here's what it is in Blackboard, and I will be able to do a manual change on that. Makes my life easier, and instead I have to go to 2 different systems. If I have to, I'll do it just to check on that, but it works out better for you. So you're proactive. So you have to check. Don't always assume. In business, you're going to talk about this class, business or any class. You have to be able to understand that you're getting your money's worth and how the systems work. Okay, so you have this, so you can go in there. Now, in the student mode, you always have your announcements. You check announcement. I send you an email. I send you an email that came out here, and basically this one here is your Blackboard Collaborate. And Blackboard Collaborate with the little message telling you, hey, here's the book, everything about this, and then here is basically I send you a copy of the syllabi. And the copy of the syllabi would be here. You'd find the most recent one. If you notice on my syllabi, when I look in here, it has 820, that's the date it's been updated. So always check on the update date. And the one I sent out earlier was the one I'm working from other classes that I have, and I usually just update it. So that's why if I look at some of the stuff, you go, oh, geez, the syllabi he sent me in advance, a draft, it's a little different than this one. So always check on that. All right? So you'll have your syllabi in here. So open that up. I'm not going to open up. You can look at that, your adults. All right? You have some faculty. Now, when you click on the faculty information, I did this here for the adult fast track, and it's basically a bio. I used to just have my bio. I think I even have the bio out here. Here's my bio, some information on here about me. But I always like that personal touch, because in business, especially in this class, into business, you have to communicate to people other than just send them a text message. You have to talk to them. And most of you you got the iPhone, you're using for lack of better FaceTime to talk to somebody else, or you're using Skype. All right, I have both, so you can look at that and gives you a little information. Even though it's geared, I think it was also geared for the intro to business class also. But instead of you having 10 weeks, I think they only had like 6 weeks, if I'm mistaken. All right, so you have that. So that's some information, and then now your weekly requirement. Make sure you always check your calendar, because your calendar will tell you, and you could set up your calendar by the different classes you have on here. Now, child development, I'm not teaching child development. What I basically do, if you look at my Blackboard course or other instructors' Blackboard course, we evaluate each other, peer evaluation. So I look at his or hers, and they'll look at mine, and we try to have it so Harper has a template, so no matter what course you go into, you'll have the basic tools. You'll have a discussion board, you'll have the help area, you'll have a syllabi, you have a little bit about the instructor, you'll have stuff broken down and links and everything else for that. Now, I utilize a lot of these mini recordings every week, and I'm going to do that because that's just the way I like doing it. Instead of just doing all verbal, it's another way of communication and making it a little more personalized. Because then you can't talk back to me yet, but you could at least see my nonverbal expression. And this is how you're going to have to learn, because you're going to be doing a project for me down the road. In most of my classes, you're going to do a project, and then you're also going to be doing an online class or face-to-face, doesn't make a difference, or blended, and then you'll be doing a slide presentation, especially when online, utilizing Microsoft PowerPoint. And you use a camera and video, and you do a presentation, because this is how you have to have the skill set, not only understanding business or finance or advertising, other classes, but in this case business is how do I communicate that information to my client, my customers, or to my subordinates, or to other people within my organization. This is, face-to-face is the best. This is the next option. Remember, because of COVID-19, things change. So we're going back to the normal, but whatever happened here, we accelerated what we consider normal. So now you're using this tool face-to-face, and it's just another tool, another way of communicating to your base or to your clients. Now, another thing, a lot of businesses are doing a lot of online classes, also for training. I had to do training, sexual harassment, whatever, or upgrade my skills. to get recertified, and it's always done mostly in a format like this. So utilize this as a learning experience, how to get better on this. I know there's some negative coming back. There's a lot of students aren't doing well online, and usually they're talking about before you go to college, like in grade school and maybe a little bit of high school. Not high school much, you're already transferring because you're doing a lot of social media. You're already very interactive online. So it's just another way of you taking information and learning. And the biggest thing of online is time management. In this case, you have to, you'll talk to people, but you have some that have Zoom or WebEx. Okay, so we have that. So look at the calendar. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I was evaluating this individual's course, and that individual was evaluating mine. Okay. Now, you're going to have your weekly assignment. If you notice right now, you're going to have, you're going to have, this is your first week. This is a folder. Those of you who aren't familiar with this, and this is for week 1. It tells you a little bit about what's going to happen. We're just going to be covering one chapter. Now, when you click on, the one thing I'm going to say, whatever's in this folder, you could find all this information in here. The weekly discussion, MyLab homework, the virtual groups, and you will be doing some group work. Once we get going, what I'm going to try to do is group you into groups of 3. Very easy, and then you'll be using Blackboard Collaborate and groups, and you'll be working on your final projects, and you'll be working as a group. And the reason I want to some of the group work is basically it helps you in business, because you're going to have to do some kind of work other than in face-to-face. You have to do some virtual group. So let's get used to Go meetings or Zoom or WebEx. So here's one way we could do it, and you need a control environment that you could pair up. I'll pair you up randomly. The computer will select it, and then you'll see, and then you could meet on your own time. You'll have to make some kind of adjustment. Well, it's anytime you want to meet with your group, but that's just business. It's just another way of learning. Okay? All right. So anyway, so you're going to find all this in here. You'll have my chapter lectures. I have a little bit not outdated, a couple years old. So some of the data may be off, but the concepts are right on target. You also have my mind maps, so the concept maps. Make sure you print them out, because they'll give you some information on that. When you print them out, that tells you everything you need. It's like a quick summarization, and so it gives you your vocab, your words, and you say, hey, when you're reading a chapter, you look at this, oh, what's this? He talked about this, or the author talked about this, okay? And the Pearson's web link. Okay, now if I'm looking at this Pearson web link, let me just go. When you go into Pearson's homework, remember, Pearson also has a lot of homework. They have videos, and they have other kind of a learning or practice exams and everything else that you'll be doing. Okay, so you have that. Now, does Blackboard Collaborate? The only time you're going to be using Blackboard Collaborate, you can come in here. I will do weekly messages. Hey, you're doing great this week. Hey, you're not doing great. So if I click on Blackboard Collaborate, I'll just go in here as a student, and I'm going to come in here. And right now, if I look, it's going to open up. It's all locked up, but you could have to come in here. So sometimes what I will do, I will say have an open session. Now, I will create, when you create the groups, you will have the ability to have Blackboard Collaborate just for your group. That's like a Go meeting, but here within the school. It's controlled. I don't monitor it, but it's something you could go in there, and the group could meet, and you could talk one-to-one, and you have the web camera, and it makes it a lot easier than sending text messages back and forth, but you have to set up a date. So someone's going to have to take the lead, like I'm going to be the lead, and whatever on that, okay? But if you go on here, if you look in here, it says recordings. And here's here's my recording. So you're going to have another recording, week 1 recording, week 2. How did we do it? Week 3. And I'll have all these for you to, it's like just to give you an update. Here's what you have to focus on. I'm not going much because I have my regular lecture, just what you should be doing, or what you haven't been doing, and how you should be improving on your grades, okay? So we have that. So, okay, so you have all that. You have a Canvas project. Now, Canvas project is where you're working in a group. So when you're doing each chapter, look at this later. I'm not going to open up, look at it. I got a video, and we'll talk later on that. And what you're going to do, you're going to do a written thing. It's real easy. You're going to come up with a new business venture. And then look at it. Don't tell me you're going to open up a hotel unless you got someone who's got a lot of money. So I want you to open up a whole thing. I'm a podcaster. I'm going to open up a car wash. I'm going to open up a dog poop picking up. I'm going to do a mobile mechanic because I got somebody who has that trade. It has to be something that you'll be able to open up with $50,000. That's not much money. All right, but if you have a group of three, that's 150,000. So it's a startup. I don't want you to go up here. I want you to start up small to think, how would I do it? A lot of businesses, when they start off, they don't start off big. They start off small. CDW, I think, what do you call it? This in the computer outlet in around in Libertyville, for lack of a better word. The person there, he started off, got laid off. If you look at his history, you know what I mean, and he basically went in and he started selling an old computer. He didn't realize what kind of demand. And next thing he did, he opened up a corporation. But so you're starting off here with an idea and see what you're going to do. You had the idea, your business could grow, or you could sell your business to somebody else if you have a good idea. All right, so that's what you're going to be doing. Then you're going to do a Microsoft PowerPoint, a slide presentation. Now, Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Office is available to Harper. Go to the portal. You could bring it down, and you'll get your information from there. And because that's the only way Blackboard reads it. And same thing with Microsoft Word. That's how you submit your homework. Business, that's what's required. So get used to Microsoft Office. The college just spent the money on that, so you have access. As a student, you go to Office 365, you type in Harper College Institution, and they'll walk you through it. You got a link and everything else in the student portal. I'm not here teaching you that. I'm just letting you know, here's the resource. It doesn't cost you anything. I think you could download to 3 or 4. If you have problems with that, call the help desk and say, hey, I can't get Microsoft Office to work on my desktop or my laptop. How do I bring it in? And they'll assist you on that. Okay? They spent the money. It's not free. It's part of your student activity fee. All right? So let's go back into our weekly discussion. Now, in our weekly discussion, here's the week. This is a folder, okay? So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to try to keep this underneath half an hour. Okay, so whenever you see the link here like this, it means that you could go directly here to the weekly discussion. I just made it easier. I try to do one-stop shopping, so especially for online. So students come in there, okay, everything's had to do. Here's MyLab homework. You click on that. Remember, you could go in here, but they'll take you right in there because there's a link on there. And here's my business mind map. Now, again, this is a link. So when I take the link on here and I created this in a PDF file, you could find all my mind maps if you're working ahead right in here. If you're reading ahead and you say, oh, geez, he hasn't opened up the week yet. How am I going to get chapter? You know, you look at the syllabus and said next week we're doing chapter 4 or 5, whatever it is. But he didn't open up the week yet. So how am I going to find? You can find all this. This is my one-stop shopping. So, and then this is just my YouTube 2016. Okay, so it's a few years old. The material hasn't changed. It's because they're going back and forth with the book. So once the book comes in, whether it's the same publisher going forward, for the next time, then I'll update all my YouTubes that I do in here. My YouTube, when you're looking, if you have accommodation, my YouTubes, you have a CC. That's what I do a lot of times with YouTube. You could do a CC, closed caption, and it's very close. The only thing it messes up is my name, but you could pick it up. Remember, because it may not be 100%, but it's close enough. So those with accommodations, and I'm dyslexic, just, you know, when you read my bio. So I had to adjust, even though I could have some tools, but to be more productive, especially if you open up your own business, you can't afford all that. So you have to use the tools you have, and that's how you learn. That's how you progress and go forward. Okay? So you have that. Now, the other thing you're going to have to do, you have to update your avatar. Now, this tells you, when I look at my avatar, when I come up here, I'm in the student mode. When I get out of student mode, up on top, you have your picture. And then I'll show you that after I leave, okay? But it tells you how to update your avatar in Blackboard. Because once you update your avatar, that's your picture. I don't care. Some people say, well, because of my religious background and my culture, I don't want to. Fine. But down in business, we're going to make you do it anyway. So right now, I want you to know how to do the task. So if you don't want to put your picture or anything else in there in Blackboard for this class, especially online, I want you to at least put something that is a representative. It's a little cute little puppy. It's a canoeing. I don't care. It's just something. So when you're doing the discussion board, you could basically start picking up, and you could say it's easier to follow the threads instead of just a name. The other thing, LinkedIn. Now this is one of the assignments you're gonna do is go LinkedIn, create an account, and write something, or create something in LinkedIn, and you're gonna do a resume, write up a resume. Now in LinkedIn, especially for me, if I'm looking at LinkedIn, anyone who wants to join my network of people, I'm very selective because it's business selective. You just don't want anyone in there because they're representative of you. They're part of business. So if I've been in LinkedIn, you don't have a picture, I don't even ask you to come in there. Come on, just hit it. This is going forward. All right. So try to put a picture that's either professional. Remember, you look at LinkedIn as a, and even here as a professional social media. So when you're doing your resume, yes, I know how to do an internet. How do you do it? I got social media. I don't have no social media. I don't have anything. And you go, oh, geez, you don't know anything about it. You have to have some basic knowledge. Okay, all right, so you have that, tells you how to do that. PowerPoint, that's true to publishers on here. Okay, so I have everything on here. Make sure you always check your grade. Your grade, you always have the running total. You'll have your grade, your running grade. This, you have A, B, C, and then you'll have a percentage of what you did. Because I adjusted depending on how the class goes on here. Okay, so weekly discussion. Okay, so let's go into our weekly discussion. So this is my lab. You already have that. So in your first week discussion, you're going to come in here, and what you're going to do, you're going to create a thread, right? Your first discussion. Tell me something about yourself. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to create a thread, and you're going to go, okay, something about yourself. And then, now in here, just say introduction. Say, let me just say, I am George from Chicago. That's where I grew up at, even though I was born. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay. I went to Wells High School. I went to Wells High School, grew up around, oops, got spell check, so don't worry, all right, around Bucktown and Logan Square. Okay? And some information. It's just something to get people to say, hey, I grew up around that way. I was surprised. I put this in here, the school I went to, and there's a lady that went to the same school a while back. Say, hey, I said, did it change any? I went, and yeah, well, it went a little bit different, but it still had the security. Remember, the neighborhoods changed in Chicago, okay? And then you just hit a submit, okay? And I'll see if it works. It probably won't. And see, now I have it. So then you'll have the first one. Remember, your discussion board, you have to reply to my first. There were 30 points, or 20 points in this case, because it's just an intro, very light to get you used to it. The first post has to be replied to me by Wednesday. A lot of times you won't see anybody else's posts unless I set it up that way, so you could see them. And then you basically, once you reply to me, so it's worth half the point. If you're after Wednesday, it's just late, because I don't want everything at one time. That's a download. You have the whole week, and I want you to start using, and I'm preparing you for if you take classes for your bachelor's, or if you're going to go forward for your master's or everything. This is a discussion board. Trust me, I was an online instructor. I was also an online student for some of my classes, because that's the only time I could take the classes that are available is online. All right? And so now you have this, so then when you come back, you could reply. So if I click on I'm from George, right? I have that, and then I reply to George. Do you see what I'm talking about? Right now, I don't have my picture in here because I'm a student mode, so I don't have a account as a student. But here's where, when you update your avatar, I would see my face in there, okay? All right? So let me exit this. So I have this, and then you just start going. Let me exit this preview, and I'll show you what happened, okay? Leave site. Yeah, okay? Okay, so now I'm back in here. Now let me go into the weekly discussion. Remember? Now I go in here, I got one post. So I'm going to come in here. And you see I got Dr. George a preview. When this is a preview, that's me as a student just playing around. So I'm going to click on Dr. George. If you're not, and I'm going to reply to Dr. George. And I'm going to say, hi, I'm George from Chicago. Hey, Dr. George. I went to Wells also. What year did you go? Or something like that. Oh, I gotta go like this way, George. Sorry. I got double personality, okay? And then I always sign off Dr. George. So put the person's name in there. It just makes it a little more private. Okay, so now, oops, spell my own name wrong. All right, and I hit submit, and I'm done. So do you see now the reply? So when you have your avatar, you're gonna see my face in there. Do you see how it goes? And that's what I want. It makes the discussion easier. So now you have the other thread. And now, so by Wednesday, you have to reply to my post, your first intro. Then from Wednesday to Saturday midnight, I give you a little time to Sunday, I want you to reply to four or more students within the week. Not at all in one day, because that's a download. Okay, so we have everything, homework, virtual group. Now there's virtual groups in here. These are the groups that I had last time that I had in the class. These are some of the business, grooming, car wash, simple, and they created the groups. And I think in here, I didn't have in here, but I think there are like 3 or 4 to the group. And this is also a fully online class that they have to work together in a group. And then they did a presentation as a group, and we'll work through on that. Similar to what you've been doing. If you were in a face-to-face class taking this course, you have been recording my classroom with your group presentation. If you're in a fully online class like this, you're in your group and you're doing your PowerPoint slideshow, and I'm grading it. And I'll put that in there for other students to look at it. They never see the grade. They just see my inputs on there, okay? And here's everything about the project. So if you look at the project, you click on here, and you have everything you need on here, individual. And I got to update it, but and it tells you how to populate everything else. You have course materials. Here are my lecture chapters. If you're going to go ahead, you click on here. I'd update your Blackboard, feasibility. Some of the stuff you may not see. I hide them for students because it's a different platform, so there's no reason to confuse you, all right? Remember, I'm in student mode on here. Let's see, my mind maps. If I look at my mind maps, you could always come in here, student mind maps. I'm updating these. So if I click on my mind maps, it's a PDF file. And for some of you, depending on what school you're at, okay, save. And it'll open up as a PDF file, okay? So I won't do that here. I had this set up because, let's see. Well, anyway, so you see my concept map. When you look at my recordings and everything else, I'm already at 26 minutes. I just want to make this as a half an hour. And you have them for all. When you have this here, that means it's set up, I think, for lack of better words, for people with some kind of accommodation, that it has software that Harper has for those who have accommodations. There is software available through the Office of, I think it's disabilities. I forgot what it's called. I teach at different schools, so they got different titles. Look it up in the syllabi, all right? So you have everything in here. Look at the syllabi. There's a survey, online orientation. This is where you're going to find this thing in here. And the one I have on here is for my management orientation and how to update avatar, what it takes to be online. And look, I'll throw this one in so you can see this one is 25 minutes. So there is a similarity. But I'll put this one in here. All right? So that's all I have. I think I have everything on here. I've done everything I wanted to do. Make sure, so when you come in here, check the syllabi out, check my information out, look at the weekly, check your grade, your calendar. You always check your grades to make sure it's up there. Look at the weekly assignments. Look at your homework. Make sure you do homework. When you're doing the homework, go into all of it. Because the exam, if you just click on homework, the exams are not in there. Now, the way it's set up with the homework, you have a one-time deal. So when you do the homework, one time you have to do it. It's like a mini quiz. You look at a chapter, you read something that's going to ask you some question. That's so you focus in. So it makes you read it, look at it, look my mind map, read the chapter, look at my video if you want. And it's the same thing if you're in a lecture room, you're just doing it more in your own time. And then you do the homework. Now when you do the quizzes, or the exams, to be 1, 2, and 3, you have 2 tries on the exam. So you can do the first time. After you finish it, you have to do it right away for the next time. You got an A or you got a B. If I got an A, I'm not going to worry. I got a 95. I'm happy. You may say I got to have 100. That's fine. It's going to scramble, give you different questions, and you have another try. It's going to take the higher of the score, not the average, the higher the score. So if the second time you got a lower than the B, it's going to still give you the B. Does that make sense? You have 2 tries. If you're happy with the grade you got, you're done. And then it happens, all right? Now, the way I have the homework set up, and and the exams. I take points off. So after it misses the due date, you start getting 10% off for the first week that it just start takes, I think it's like 10% off whatever the points are. Okay, so you pay a penalty on that. When it gets closer to the end of the semester, because now you're getting used to it, let's say middle of the semester, in the fifth week, it starts going to penalties like 20, 30%. You can't say, I didn't know where I needed this. So I'm giving you a break. Give you a little, like an orientation going forward, but then it starts getting harder. Business is all ran by due date. You miss the due date, customers are upset with you. Like that, most of my complaints when I was in the corporate world or when I'm working with clients is customers are upset because you told me you're going to be here and you don't show up. You told me you're going to give me something and you didn't deliver. Why did you tell me? I talked to my accountant reps. Why didn't you tell them? Well, they're going to be mad. Now they're really upset with you because, they understand things happen in business. You tell them, hey, Drew, I can't get this on here. We had a delivery problem. We had this, something happened, truck broke down, whatever. They understand that. They have to make adjustments. They could do that. Not all the time, but they'll do it. They don't want to wait till when they're calling. Oh, I was ready to call you. Yeah, right. You're ready to call me. Why didn't you call me when you knew? When did you know there was a problem? Early in the morning. Let me know there's a problem. Well, we thought we were going to fix it. Let me know so I could have a contingency plan. That's part of business, all right? So you have all that, Canvas, everything else, lecture, mind maps. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I just want to welcome you again to this class. I talk fast. Usually I have an orientation or get to know your instructor for additional points. I think for this class here, I have it on Thursday, just the way it worked out to my schedule, and it worked out with in the evening. Cause I think a lot of people have it, especially here. It's more of a apprentice. I know I got apprentice program. Sometimes you are in the daytime, but you're also taking some classes on time online. So like in this course. So I set up, I think, from 7 to 8. Come and join me. Say, hey, I'm George, I'm Sally, I'm whoever you are, and have your web camera. And the whole thing is that it'll be recorded and how you sound. You just not say anything, but be in the office. But I want you, when you look at the recording, how do you come across on the other side? If you notice here, I got a screen that comes down. I got another screen that has a green screen. I don't like the green screen because it seems like, even though I got the green screen, it seems like you can see that I'm like a fake person in a background. A lot of times when I have it, I'll have it up and you just see me in my office. And sometimes my office is not clean. This is more of a neutral way of presenting to you. But however you have it, make sure you have it set up so people could look at it. Let me just pop it up. Hopefully it's clean. I'll just show you. And the only reason I'm doing this is because, so you understand. Okay. So now if you look at my office, this is my office. It looks fairly clean. Now, I get graded when I do a lot of things for other schools and everything else, and they have a thing they rate you, how's my presentation. My office is a representation of me in business. When people come to my office, they look around, especially salespeople, they find out, it gives you a little bit of your character, your personality. Do you see what I mean? The other stuff is more of a very neutral color. So this way you're not focusing, well, let's see what he's got. Look how he's got dirty, or he's got this. What the heck is all that? This is stuff that was either given to me or something when I was in corporate. I just put it into my home office that I record, or when I do my consulting or my podcasting out of. All right? So it depends which way I want it. If it's real messy, just pull it down. And it works well. I have another one that's just a green screen that I could just do if I want to do some kind of change on it. It's not that expensive. It just makes you have to adjust. So when you're looking at yours, the avatar, your picture, how do I come across? Do I got the right color? Do I have everything else? So that's all I'm saying. I'm at 33 minutes, and I want to thank you for taking this class. It's not that hard. Go in there the first time, play around. I'll have the class open before the class usually starts on a Monday. Remember, the classes are from Monday to Sunday. And then it goes off, and you get the next week, and everything else that's like. So you have the whole thing. The way to succeed in this class, read the chapters, and don't try to do it all in one day. No way you're going to make it. I can tell you that right now. No way. And you have to learn time management. And in business, you do a little here, a little here, a little there, and then you do well on it. All right? So again, this online experience, it's not that hard. I know you see some negative people don't learn as much as online. Trust me, they learn as much. When they're using the example size, they're looking at preschool. They're looking at kids like my grandson and everything else in like 5th grade, 6th grade, and maybe second year, first year, second year high school. It's a different kind of learning. They like that interaction and social. After that, when you're out there in business, you're already using this. This is just another way of communication. You learn because you have the basics, and this is just another tool that you take and say, okay, another way I could communicate to people, other than my FaceTime or my sending them text messages or other ways of communication. This is the closest thing. You see me, I can talk to you, you see my expression, you see my verbal, all right? And this is how you get better. That's where my office, if you look at the rest of the office, but this is good. So welcome again. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, or Dr. George, or some of my podcasting is Dr. Gam. All right? So I'll see you later, and thank you again for signing up for this class. And then hopefully I'll see you get to meet the instructor, and you have a webcam and we could talk. And to get to meet the instructor is going to be on Harper WebEx, so it's a secure site. I send you the invite, whoever it is, you get the passcode, and that will send to your email directly for your Harper email. That's the only way I communicate to you. Don't send me any kind of email from Comcast or anything else. If it doesn't have the Harper student on there, I don't respond to those. That's the only way I know to protect your privacy or whatever, to meet the requirements that Harper College has to do with FERCA, that I know that the person I'm communicating is you. If you give somebody else the access, that's your problem. All I'm doing is I'm communicating with a site that I know has been assigned to you by the college, and I could communicate with your grades on that. All right? So that's all I have, and have a nice day and stay safe. Bye.